how do you go from that kid running down the street, running from shoes or the shoe department to now who you become this big time motivational speaker? How do you make that transition, or what was that transition like?
Yeah, man. The crazy thing is, I don't know if you know, but or if you remember, but I got kicked out of San Pedro as well because I threatened the basketball coach because I was showing off. He had us try out, right? So this dude named Espeleta became the coach of San Pedro High School, and the previous semester or whatever, I was one of the stars. Me and Cordage, there was a Croatian dude, right? I was one of the stars. So it's like, yo, you coming in new and you gonna have us try out. So I was just messing around during the tryouts. And it was one of those things where they put your name on a board like 6 hours later and you go find out what, you made the team. And I'll never forget, I looked, everybody was like at the board going through the names and they saw me and they kind of turned around. They're like, ooh. And I was like, this motherfucker, he better, my name better be on that. My name wasn't on the board. He cut me because I was messing around. And so he wanted to make an example out of me. And so everybody was like, ooh, Preston didn't make the team. So I said, where you at? And I'm enraged. And this dude is like a 4'11", beautiful Asian man. But at the time, I'm 6'1", 6'2", and raging. And so I go in the gym and I was like, Espeleta. He was like, Preston, I don't have any space or any time for you. Don't get out of here. You're not on the team anymore. And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I was like, I'll fucking kill you. And I'm standing over him, like kind of doing like this, saying that I'm gonna kill you. Fast forward to the police coming and taking me out of class the next period, and I got kicked out of school.
And wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he said he wasn't going to press charges because obviously when you threaten to kill somebody while literally standing over them, you could go to jail for that. And so I ended up going to back to Carson High School, and watching most of my friends just deteriorate, right? Like y'all and myself, we had something to like look forward to, right? So we had this dream of basketball and being, stars or playing overseas or whatever the case may be. Well, back in my other neighborhood, back with my other friends, they didn't have that. I was the only one that had that. I was the star of the friend group. Everybody else was just like little wannabe gangsters, right? And so I went back there and it just kind of went all downhill. And my dad lost the house that he was living in and started living on the streets and started doing crack cocaine even more than what he was doing at the time when I was younger. And so my whole life sort of imploded after that. And I ended up going to college and doing all that kind of stuff. But what triggered me where I am today, and I feel extremely blessed to be somebody who comes from a family, like I come from nothing, right? When I knew you and when we were kids, I was living in a tiny ass apartment. Y'all had more than I did in that sense, right? So today, to be a multimillionaire and to have built this whole thing from fucking nothing, I'm extremely proud and humbled because of that. And long story short, I went to college and realized that I felt like an imposter the whole time. I don't know if you've ever had that come up for you in comedy or anything else, but I was like, yo, I'm the stupidest person in this school and somebody's going to find out. Because I was in special education, which is another thing you probably didn't know about me. Since I was young, I was in special education. And so I already had these traumas and internalized toxic shame about who I am as a person, not like my learning deficiencies, but I thought, oh, I'm actually messed up. And therefore, people are going to find out. And so, as a child, you wear all these masks and you people please, or I people pleased and tried to do all the right things. So I got love. And, I was almost apologizing for being this stupid kid. Like my sister was smart, straight A's, all the things. And so for me, it was like, oh, basketball. This is how I'm going to prove my worth to my family. I'm going to be a basketball player. And when that dream died, it was like, what do I have and who am I? And fast forward to cheating my way all the way through college. I know you went to Prairie View. I went to Southern. I cheated on every single test the entire time. Not one single thing that I did I not cheat. And I studied my ass off, but I also cheated. And what I recognized was that old wound, even though I was in college, the old wound of me being, not smart enough, not good enough, was following me everywhere. And it showed up even with with girls and stuff like that. I would see the pretty girl, the one I wanted to date, but I would wait for her because there was some part of me that was like, yo, you aren't worthy. And so fast forward to grad school, I had a few realizations and a few crazy things happen, and ended up going back to LA to become an actor and a model, which is another thing, right? Here I am. I know that I have this thing on my heart where I want to teach and I want to support people, but I also want to make money so that I can take care of my family. Because under all of this, Dante, was this thought: I got to make it so my dad doesn't die, right? Just like, I know you got kids, and so just imagine if your kids, from the age of, let's call it 13, which is when I found out what was going on with my dad, from the age of 13 to 25 years old, I was so stressed out and trying to be the man of the house and make up for all the things that my dad had unconsciously done to our family, that by the time I was 25, I'm in LA and I start to feel these heart palpitations. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? And, you come from where I'm come from, you don't really go to the doctor. So I never went to the doctor. I'm talking about years of not going to the doctor, all through college, the whole thing, right? 6, 7 years, I didn't go to the doctor. And then this heart thing came up and I was like, I probably got to check on this. So I go to a cardiologist, dude sits me down, takes a bunch of tests, sends me off with this machine that's connected to my chest to check my heartbeat. I come back, he sits me down and he says, listen, young man, and I was sitting in the office with 50, 60, 70-year-old people, and I'm 25 years old. And he says, listen, as a doctor, as a cardiologist, I'm supposed to give you some pills that will regulate your heartbeat for the rest of your life. But as a father, as a concerned citizen, I want to have a conversation with you. And I said, okay, what you got? He said, tell me about your diet. And I was like, what do you mean my diet? He's like, tell me what you eat. And I said, oh, I eat food, like McDonald's pretty much every other day, Burger King, Sloppy Joe's, beer, cheese, just steaks, Popeyes, just what? Food. Mm-hmm. And he was like, young man, that's not food. And I was like, what you talking about? It's not food. It's on the commercials. My mom, my dad, my friends, my family, everybody I know eats this. This is food, homie. And he's like, unfortunately, it's not food. It's processed. It has GMOs and it's breaking your body down. So that's one. Number two, he said, what are your stress levels like? And I was like, what's a stress level? He's like, tell me about your life. I told him about my dad and what was up for me. And he was like, okay, so here's what I'm guessing is happening for you. You're so stressed out that your body is breaking down. And you're going to die if you keep stressing the way you are early. You will not make it. Number one killer of Americans in general, but especially Black people, is heart disease. And you are an American Black boy going into manhood, and your heart is already breaking down. Damn. And so for me, this was the thing, and I'm going to end the story here. This was the thing, the catalyst moment for me where I was like, oh, I got to make drastic change. And so what happened was I instantly started juicing, and I let go of all fast food and started meditating and reading. And my girlfriend at the time, Olivia, bro, we'll go there, but who you introduced me to, and catch the story that I shared before. Remember? Mm-hmm. I just shared like maybe 5 minutes ago that I never went up to girls. Dante introduced me to one of the biggest loves of my life, not the biggest, but one of them. And it's that same thing. She was looking at me. The whole thing was there, but I was scared, right? Imposter syndrome sitting under all of it. Olivia's godmom gave me a book called Ask and It Is Given by Jerry and Esther Hicks. And I'll never forget this. I was so desperate. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do something, right? She was like, I know you don't read because of dyslexia, but look into this. I opened that book, and within the first 3 pages, it said, your thoughts become things and you create your own reality. And I remember dropping the book. I had a master's degree from Louisiana State University, a BA from Southern University, and I had never heard those words ever in my life. And I like ever. And so my thoughts become things, I create my own reality. What is this? And I got so mad that I opened the book up again and I was like, oh, I'm going for it. And so essentially, I filled my cup in such a way that there was so much overflow that people in Hollywood, I started booking every commercial. I started like just feeling good. My skin cleared up. I was just on fire and everybody noticed it. And so people kept coming to me saying, yo, like, I'm going through this. Can you help me? I was like, yeah, of course. And so at some point I got tired of that. And I was like, I'm just going to create a YouTube channel because there's this thing called YouTube that's slightly popular, but not that popular. I'm going to create a YouTube channel called Questions with Preston, where I answer some of these universal truths and questions that people ask me all the time. And, you know, without going too much further, that turned into a bunch of people asking me to speak on stages, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I started coaching and created a couple of different companies, and you know, the rest is history, man. I've been in flow ever since.
Yeah. Thank you for tapping in with us. In order to see more clips like this, check out this video here or check out this one here.